Now we're going to install the Raspbian operating system on this 8 gig micro SD card. Pretty much any 8 gig micro SD card should work. You're going to probably want one of these adapters so that you can plug it into your laptop or your computer to install Raspbian. Sunfounder doesn't go into a lot of detail. They refer you out to other sites for getting that done, which is pretty smart because sometimes it changes. Based on my experience with the Raspberry Pi, I'm just going to walk you through the whole thing. We're actually going to install what's called noobs, and that will allow us to install Raspbian. And I'll show you how to hook the Pi up and get it up and running and get the source code off from GitHub and all that good stuff. Now we're going to go ahead and install noobs on here, but before we do that, you may want to make sure you have a few things. So you may have to order some things. So the way the Raspberry Pi works is we have an HDMI connector here, which looks like it's going to be really fun to get to. So we're probably going to have to unscrew the Raspberry Pi to get to it. But this is going to be your video display. Now there are other ways to get to the Raspberry Pi over a laptop and Ethernet and so on. But when you first start out, you pretty much have to plug a monitor into this HDMI port. So you either want a monitor with an HDMI cable, or if you have only monitors with VGA, that's okay, but you'll have to buy an adapter. And you have to buy a good adapter. The adapters that I've found work best are these Belkin adapters. They're a little bit more expensive, but they work. So HDMI on one side, VGA on the other. Also, I've noticed that if you have a long VGA cable, they tend not to work. Some monitors work better, some monitors don't work. I think it's a matter of the signal strength, and somehow the way the Pi detects the resolution of the monitor when it first boots and so on is pretty critical. If the Pi gets the appropriate resolution signal back, then it will boot and you'll see it on the screen. But if it doesn't, the screen will be blank. So make sure you get a good adapter and a good monitor with a not too long VGA cable. You'll also need a mouse and a keyboard, USB. As you can see here, there's some interference. Probably you're not going to be able to use this USB port here because of the antenna. So I recommend you get a USB hub, and the one that I like to use is an Amazon Basics. What is it? 7 ports, 2 high power charging ports. So these are 2.1 amp ports, which is great for powering the Pi. It's USB 2.0. I haven't had much luck with 3.0 USB hubs working with the Pi. So this one works great. And then you can plug in your keyboard and mouse to that and plug the hub into this, and that should work fine. Here's hardwired Ethernet connector. Wi-Fi works pretty good. So you might not need this. But if you end up doing anything special with the Ethernet, you might need that. So we're going to program the SD card with noobs, plug it into this slot, and then we'll be ready to start programming the Raspberry Pi.